After Stadia closed SG&E, its first party stint, we knew that despite whatever the facts were with the platform, that it was going to get a backlash of negative press from the media. Just for the simple fact, they don't like Stadia because of the business model or whatever, right? So a lot of us that have the platform that know better than what we were seeing in the reports decided to just keep our heads down and keep playing the games that we enjoy and enjoying the platform. However, a new article has come across our way that you simply can't ignore. See as, oh my goodness, Stadia hate train strikes again with the worst article yet. It's SDO Daily, baby. Let's get into it.
Stay sick cause I follow my gut. They say I was pushing up. I'ma push me a matte all black truck. I'm not sorry.
What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? It is your boy MM2K back again with another episode of the SDO Daily on behalf of the Stadia Dosage. Do us a huge favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, rock those bells for notifications, please, so you know when we're dropping these doses. We appreciate all of you straight up. You know the deal, you know the reason, and you know the slogan. We are not too proud to ask. Let's get into it. All right, y'all. So here is the history on what's going on here. So GameIndustry.biz dropped an article where they attempt to look like they're reaching out to different people in the game industry that do game streaming, that are on the same level as Google and maybe Amazon as far as streaming, to get their examination or get their analysis of the pulse of games, of cloud streaming and cloud gaming altogether, right? Like, these people are significant enough to be able to speak to the ails of Stadia and Amazon, right? Like, stop it. Now, if you're not familiar with cloud gaming on this platform, you may not be the wiser. You may be saying, you know what? Well, what's wrong with these people? They're doing cloud gaming. It's all the same, isn't it? And that's what Game Industry Biz is hoping how you think, right? That's how they want you to think. But as I will detail to you and show you, these people don't have no correlation to what Stadia is trying to do, definitely, Amazon, Xbox, anybody's trying to do. And the stuff that they say proves it, as they show you, they have no business being highlighted by GameIndustry.biz in these matters, except for trying to get some publications, or trying to get some attention from this publication for the institutions they represent. But with no further ado, let me show you something. Okay, so here's what's going on, y'all. Just to show you how bad the pedigree of GameIndustry.biz, a publication that's normally great at telling gaming news. I used to consider them the AP of gaming news journalism. But just to show you the extent of how bad they are with Stadia related news, I want to show you this first. This just dropped recently after the article was dropped itself. And it's something common with GameIndustry.biz and others that fall into the same bucket. What bucket is that? People that just want to rush to the airwaves, report negative stuff on Stadia because it's generating clicks and they don't do due diligence. And therefore, they're cascading bad information to the unsuspecting gamer that's not simply trying to help them out with clicks. They had to do a retraction already. And it goes as follows. For the record, a Google spokesperson highlighted a couple of inaccuracies regarding Stadia's features and offerings. We have amended the article accordingly. I mean, come on, man. This is ridiculous. GameIndustry.biz don't make mistakes like this normally. They don't. But they do it time after time with Google Stadia. Shout out to Cindy Lauper. Hey, look, this is absurd. And you will see as we go deeper into this article. So the article is precursed with, what do Stadia struggles mean for game streaming? And you think, again, they're talking to industry experts that are on the same plateau or have fathomable experience of what Stadia is trying to do. That is not the case. Let's go to the article. All right, so first we're going to talk to we're going to take an excerpt from our good friend here. This guy's name is Doki Tops. Yeah, this is Doki Tops from Utomic. Never heard of him? Neither have I. But it's all right. Because we're doing this from an elitist plateau, I'm gonna try to get into this the best way I can with my elitist voice, reading this comment from Doki Tops. But after we read what he has to say, we'll explain on the back end why, again, except for promotion, Mr. Tops has no business speaking on behalf of Google, Amazon, or anybody. Or speaking to the L's, that is, of Google, Amazon, or anybody. He says, Google's approach to gaming says nothing about the power of game streaming. The potential is there. Google also built its game streaming platform with a proprietary approach, making it very difficult, as every game needs to be rebuilt from the ground up for their platforms or needs to be ported. This approach creates an enormous barrier for game developers. All right. And that, my good friend, was our buddy here, Doki Tops. Okay, so here's the thing. First and foremost, and I could be wrong about this, but Splash Damage recently created and released a Google exclusive called Outcasters. It's like a multiplayer game. It's like a AA, indie style type of game, right? Pretty fun game, very good game. And it's exclusive to Stadia. Now, from what I understand, I could be wrong, that game was built from the ground up for Stadia in a short amount of time. And it works perfectly. It's a great look, it's smooth looking game. The art style is great, no lag, no serious issues or bugs. Direct stream is a gem with the game. Everything about the game is smooth and working like you're playing on a dedicated device. And some. When you factor in the Google Stadia features that are involved. So that's debunked right there. That building a game from the ground up causes cataclysms and imps to crawl from the crevices of the earth. But here's the big kicker. He says, it's very difficult as every game needs to be rebuilt from the ground up for their platform or needs to be ported. Okay. Well, again, we addressed the built from the ground up thing, which Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo, they're all closed system platforms. So, what the hell, Doki? But okay, fine, sure. We already talked about Outcasters. Let's talk about the ports. Man, you know what? Doki might be on to something. Because now that I think about it, can you imagine if a big ticket AAA game was ported to Stadia? Let's say it's the biggest game of 2020, arguably, with the biggest anticipation. Can you imagine if that game came out and it was buggy everywhere else, but for some reason it played excellent on Stadia? That would never happen, right? Never. What? Look at your screen, MM2K. What? What the hell is this? Google closes Stadia Cyberpunk 2077 hardware giveaway early due to overwhelming demand. Now, why am I highlighting this? Because, again, Cyberpunk 2077, arguably the biggest game of 2020 as far as anticipation and hype. The second best place to play it was Google Stadia. Not your $500 next gen console, not your other console, your 8th gen console, you know what I'm saying? Next to a big ticket rig that costs you a lot of money, Google Stadia was the best way to play it, and that is for $0 plus price a game if you're playing on your PC, phone, or laptop, or for $100 plus the price of game if you're playing on a Stadia, if you're playing on a Chromecast Ultra on a TV. But wait, that's not it. Because to bring in the fact that this game played so well on the platform, Google Stadia was giving out, for no additional cost, Stadia Premier bundles with purchases of Cyberpunk 2077. And the campaign was so successful that they ran out. They ran out of supply. Wow. Ain't that something? And remember that supply that Jason Schreier was talking about in his Les Posay? Oh, there's Google Stadia stock just sitting around and cobwebs and broken and nobody wants it. Remember all that silly crap he was writing about? That was those controllers and bundle kits were earmarked for this effort, and they sold out in days. And they were also earmarked for the YouTube effort. That also, the supply was diminished in days. So they were earmarked for activity happening at the end of the year to paying customers. So again, that's why I say you got to watch this lamestream media, these puke pundits, because they like to set up this mirage of how things are when they're really not that way. You got to kick the tires yourself. But again, it proves why our good friend Doki Tops is not on top of his game when it comes to talking about anything Google Stadia. As a matter of fact, I don't know who the hell Utomic is. Is it an ice cream? That's what it sounds like, some damn ice cream. I don't even know who they are. And Doki and company, there's not enough phone books in the world to stack on top of each other for you to even speak or to be on Google or Amazon's level. There's not enough to stack up to put you up there. But I'm not mad at you, big fella. I'm not mad at you for getting the publicity, because it's GameIndustry.biz that has to answer the question, why in the hell would you go to this guy? What he said utterly makes absolutely no damn sense. Next Mensa candidate is the CEO of GameStream. Now, GameStream is a little bit more relevant. They're trying to white label game streaming to hotels and stuff. And they've already partnered with like Disney, I believe. So, they're doing something, still a smaller scale, smaller scope of what Stadia is trying to do, and Amazon is trying to do, and Xbox is trying to do. But again, it's something that could be very profitable for their business. Here's what he had to say, though, that just, again, utterly makes no sense. The problem Stadia had in the beginning is the lack of content started them down a path towards consumer dissatisfaction. Consumers never asked to replace their Xbox or PlayStations. They were perfectly fine in a booming console industry to stick to the current systems. All right. You know what, LeBeau? I'm not gonna argue with you. You know why I ain't gonna argue with you, big fella? Cause Stadia ain't gonna argue with you. What do I mean? Let me show you something. This is from Jack Buser, head of games at Stadia. When he was asked several months before the launch of Google Stadia, how do you guys plan to pry people at launch from their consoles? He said, whoa. Look, we recognize what we are and who we are and what we mean to the gaming community. This is a marathon, not a sprint. We have no way, no shape, no form or fashion expect to be prying people off of consoles this early in the game. You take baby steps with this. He says, specifically, when asked that question, the same device you're using certainly has better and more rich game experiences, talking about consoles and PCs. That will take time to play out, that being Stadia being able to match them in totality. Because gamers will have to realize, oh my gosh, Stadia has improved so much from years ago. I can't believe I'm still using the same screen. So again, LeBeau, what the hell are you talking about? Someone else again that is in a totally different lane as far as just their product and services that has no fathomable idea or experience to be talking on this level. But last, but certainly not least, in the most peculiar example, and really the inspiration of this video, is our good friend Bruce Grove, CEO and co-founder of streaming specialist Polystream. I know. Who the hell is this? Polygrip? I don't know. I don't know. But apparently, GameIndustry.com or .biz found them on the back of a box of Cracker Jacks. So I don't know. Anyway, Bruce chimes in, and Bruce, interestingly though, is part of the former senior management team over at OnLive. And here's what he has to say that really boggled the hell out of me and had me question, why in the hell would GameIndustry.biz release something so silly as this article, let alone even write it? Whose idea was this? Here goes Mr. Bruce Grove. The closing of Stadia Studio is a key indicator that they're on a familiar path because they haven't fixed the fundamentals. Pixel streaming game content as video via GPU per player has been debunked as a bad business model. And Stadia failed to do their history homework. I'm not even reading the rest of this crap. This is garbage. Look, what he's trying to do is equate the crazy silliness, the rambunctious, real world / Housewives of Atlanta crap that was happening at OnLive with what's going on at Google Stadia. There were very big, significant differences in why this guy shouldn't even been called. He should have been the last person that was called. Why? Well, it's outlined in an article that are done by our good friends at The Verge that GameIndustry.biz clearly didn't do their due diligence on and double check before they went to somebody at OnLive. It says OnLive lost how the paradise of streaming games was undone by one man's ego. And basically what it tells you is that OnLive was done in because their CEO was a madman. He was upset that AAA games were on competing platforms. So what did he do? He would cancel them. After a deal would be made, he would say, no, I want you to take your game out. And they were like, hell no, who are you? You're new in the game. We're trying to make as much money as possible. And he would rip the game off the platform. He even went bonkers at E3 one time. They had to close the door because he was mad that EA was putting one of their games somewhere else. I think it was Mass Effect 2 or something like that. Or one of the Mass Effect games, I'm sorry. But then, the people talk about why OnLive was really an empty shell of a platform. And it's highlighted here. If you ask employees, they can point you to a number of reasons why paying users didn't come. Broadband in the United States is fickle. It was at the time. Even in households with a good connection, if one family member started a YouTube video, that could disrupt others' games. Yes, that was true at the time. As I showed you with Stadia, however, on a 50 megabyte up and down connection, my wife was on a 4K video stream, my son was on a 4K YouTube video, and nothing happened to my stream. So those were different times back then. The technology wasn't there yet. And he said, with these bandwidth constraints, the service stream games at a compressed 720p resolution on par at the time with consoles, which didn't look as good as titles rendered by a gaming PC. That's significant. You might hear that and say, well, Stadia isn't on par with the gaming PC. But here's the thing. Stadia can do things that PCs can't with implementation like state share and Stream Connect. You can't do that on PC. We've experienced that playing Division 2 and having PC players say, oh, wow, you guys can do what? OnLive had nothing to offer besides pounding your chest and saying, I can play my game via the internet. The play on devices was horrendous. It was horrible. It was choppy. Stadia's is silky smooth. So you have an advent where the technologies just wasn't there yet, and also have an advent to where OnLive just wasn't offering nothing. You couple that with the fact that the CEO was driving AAA games away, and Stadia's VP and company are trying to drive AAA games to the platform. What the hell are we doing here, GameIndustry.biz? Golly! Woo, goodness. So, with all that said, the question you may be asking now is MM2K equipped with this knowledge what we do now? And I would say, look, continue to keep your head down, continue to play your games, enjoy them, because I am. Regardless if the media likes Stadia or not, who gives a damn? Screw them. They're elitists and they have an agenda. And yes, should we go out there and debate and debunk misleading information on the sake of our unsuspecting gaming brethren and sisterin? Absolutely. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I know some people do, but look, I don't care about people's opinions. I care about how facts are disseminated to my fellow gamers, because I used to have facts disseminated to me improperly and not make me waste money on a lot of money on things that weren't for me, but because someone had an agenda, they told me stuff incorrectly. So yeah, go ahead and look out for your fellow gamer. But with that said, I wouldn't focus too much on it. I mean, this stuff is gonna happen, but it's important for us to understand who we need to skip and who we need to ignore. And definitely when it comes to Stadia news, GameIndustry.biz just showed why they are the worst of the worst. This by far was the worst attempt that I've seen at a long time. This is worse than the crap at Kotaku. And Kotaku stuff was bad recently. All types of misinformation and conjecture and, not putting the full stuff into context, like why did Stadia back away from SG&E, with them citing the Bethesda announcement? Are they looking to get their own big ticket studio? Of course, they don't want to, get into that. With that being said, what do? We just ignore and keep playing these games and enjoying them. Because if we keep playing the games and we use the actual facts versus their fiction, it means a whole lot. Do what they're not doing. Get the platform in your hands and know what you're talking about. That's the best way forward. And with that, that's it from your boy MM2K. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below, because like I always say, who cares what I think? But if you did like what I had to say, check out the links below to follow me. Those links will lead you to the Broadband Bullies, PNTS Network, Hard Knock Digital Culture, and yes, the Stadia Dosage. With that said, love you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.